sort of a team comp that they helped. I don't want to say that they developed it, but they definitely helped make it super popular. Although it's going to be the Zariel, of course, coming out from MAK that we saw previously alongside Ian's Teros. So we have two Zariels, and then we have like a classic pick of a Teros and a Kyna. So we have even though it's a normal comp, it's still also an interesting comp because we're seeing sort of past and present coming together here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the red team in Loras and Kyna gets the most interesting when they're both on double bow. But you're seeing kind of the ability to be very adaptive in defensive situations from the red team. They're almost always able to find a hitbox to disrupt, their teammate getting hit. Kyna going very low there with the fast forward actually works out. The down signature comes in, and Ian gets the recovery on Kyna. Loras can't save him. And that's going to be a clean stock from the blue team off of a bit of a flub off stage from Kyna. That fastball a little bit too low. Yeah,
and it started off with a down air from Loras onto Ian, which kind of kicked that whole thing off, and I thought that was going to be stock losses for blue team. Eventually it did, as we just saw Loras pick up a double KO right off that bottom right side. Loras sent flying. See if he can get back. He does get back. See if he can find a weapon next. That's his next mission after getting back to the main stage. Maybe I called it a little bit early. He's able to get it there to the left side. Here comes the bow. There's the side light. He goes for the D light. Gets punished by MAK's side air.
Interesting choice for MAK to go for an extension onto Kyna, but it works out in that sense that he was able to keep Kyna on stage high enough so that he couldn't save Loras. He was unable to make it back to the wall. Good option choice from the blue team. Good target selection. I mean, downlight into side air, into a downlight on the other way to send it into Kyna. A great pickup from Loras, who's always so responsive. He never leaves damage on the table for sure. Side light catches the jump into the immediate side air, checks the dodge timing, and that's going to be a big pickup again from Kyna's bow. They are completely running away with this game right now.
Yeah, he sent MAK flying over to the left, and he turned his sights, set them on Ian over on the right side so he could get the follow-up off of Kyna. One might go off the top, one might go off the bottom. Loras is actually going to fall here. There's a ground pound. There's a weapon toss bonk on the head. The D-light into the ground pound. Kyna was able to touch during that. Loras is here. The weapon toss goes up. Kyna hits the unarmed recovery onto MAK. Not enough to take him off the top, but gives Kyna the room he needs to get back. He has gauntlets in his hands now. Pummel comes through, hits his teammate and MAK.
Another side light, D-light, side air is able to take the damage, but you set up a 2v1 and Kyna still on a second stock, even if it somehow found a KO. I like that attempt from Loras to save his teammate, but Kyna will fall, and it's still a very, very healthy 2v1 for the red team.
Yeah, they're going to be coming in. Bow on Kyna, spear on Loras against the bow of Max. There's one side light. He can't get anything. Anything that has like a long hitbox, whether it's like 2 hits or anything like that, he's just going to get caught. Whiffing the GCD light from Loras when maybe just like a turnaround D-Sig might have done it at that point. And that's going to be the game regardless. They're still able to clean it up. 2.5 minutes into that game. Solid damage again. Dude, Loras is doing so well in these games.
648
He is
insane.
A superstar today.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat number on a Kaya as well. I mean, I think Brawlhalla 2v2 is a little bit too complicated to be like, oh yeah, that's the point guy and that's the support guy. I think it's a lot more fluid in that sense. But like Kaya traditionally is your support legend. The spear is a very supportive weapon in nature, great at following up or setting up. But somehow Loras is the one that's able to get all of the damage, forcing all of the initiative forward. 648 damage. That is like an absurdly large amount of damage for a Kaya.
And that's just that's largely due to the fact that like Loras is just a different Kaya player. And I think like the stereotypical, the traditional Kaya player is more of that support role, but Loras is just doing it different while also being a good support player who's always cognizant of what's going on, so he can set up his teammate and he can follow up off of his teammate as well.
That's the last level of the 2v2 top meta, is when you're able to adapt and swap your roles that fluidly, where if you're going to give me damage, I'm going to take it, and Loras finds a lot of success in that way. Kyna taking the brunt of the force from the blue team right now, but the red team even getting a little bit of damage there. Kyna with the unarmed dodges through the weapon toss. Both the red team members stuck on the left side. That'll find a confirmation onto Kyna and Loras, and that's going to be 2 KOs for the blue team as they look to potentially even up the set off that lead. We'll see if they can capitalize here.
Yeah, this is a nice lead that they might find themselves with. We're seeing the damage come out. Great follow-up from Kyna there off of some of the Loras unarmed damage. Unfortunately, he didn't have a weapon, so he wasn't able to put out as much damage per move to get that recovery to KO off the top from Kyna. There's another recovery, a little bit too low to take Ian off the top. We are on Small Fortress. There's the D-Sig coming through from Kyna. They're looking for KO territory. Loras is going to grab one. The follow-up with the downer. The weapon toss goes high, and Ian cannot get back even with the dodge up.
Yeah, and then you put MAK in a position where now he's in a 2v1 versus the back-to-back LAN champions, and that's a place that nobody wants to find themselves, because you'll get hit by a couple moves, and MAK takes so much damage, he makes it back.
He's still taking damage. He just wants to get away from the red team, and they will not let him. There's a weapon spawn on the field, but he cannot get to it. Finally grabbing it. Ian's going to grab a KO onto Loras, put him down on a final stock. That's a really great start.
very important when your teammate's taking all of that aggression. Ian finding ways to get that damage build and even finding a KO onto Loris, making the blue team's chances to win this game much better. GC side stick, a lot of just straight damage there that time. Endlight comes out now. We get a downlight into Nair, doesn't KO off the top. Kyna having to dodge through that recovery attempt from MAK. And the red team are kind of struggling to find the KOs right now. This is where Bo will kind of struggle, and we see Loras immediately recognizing, swapping over the spear.
Yeah, this is why it can be a little bit scary if you want to KO with Nairs and you're on this stage and you don't have a ton of strength. That's why if you're going to play Zarya, you need to use those signatures in the kit, or do you find the D-Light recovery? Even that on this stage is going to take a while to KO because that ceiling is so high. Kyna potentially on his final stock soon. Everybody else has been on final stock. Laura is now getting into the orange on final stock. Might have to be careful. They can keep Ian weapon starved. That's going to lower his damage output quite a bit.
Oh, interesting. Kyna gets hit by his own teammate, sent into his own teammate, but dodges through. He will falter there, though, as that recovery is enough to KO off the top. And look at the movement from Loris.
Yes.
That's like 8 moves thrown out. He dodges through all of them, only gets hit with 1 hit, but finally lands back on the soft platform into the loving or not so loving hands of a D-Light side air from the Taros Hammer.
Laura's staying over on the wall.
Wait a minute! Off the team damage! The game slips away. Kyna in a 1v1 now. It comes down to the Devil Jin Mirror.
I wonder if Laura's meant to send him back into Kyna, or if you meant to send him over to the wall. Either way, Kyna was so ready for it. The timing after that spear ground pound. He's winning this game so far, barely missing the sidelight.
Where are we going versus Kyna?
He wanted the big play. He thought he could get the big play. Dude, that was bold moves from MAK. He's still alive in this one. Just a little bit behind at this point. There's the neutral air, the bounce pass, no follow-up attempt, overspacing the D-Light. There's the sidelight in the wait. He goes back down.
Okay.
He's changing up after sidelight. That's going to be it. Kyna's going to take it. He's going to take that game. They're now going up 2-0 in the set, and we're seeing almost split completely down the middle between Kyna and Loras. 558 damage, mid 500s for Loras as well, splitting the KOs right down the middle, 3 and 3.
Really great to see Kyna step up in that 1v1, and kind of takes me back to when he streams and his mic has no filter on it, and I just hear his keyboard. I know his keyboard was going crazy. Yeah. He was seriously locked into that, and he was barely able to close it out. Very, very important.
I think Laura's meant to send it over into the blast zone. I think he ripped it just a little bit too early because that signature that came through from Kyna, I think, was meant for the other blue team member who was also right there, who spot dodged it in time.
We'll go into this game number 3 with Kyna and Laura as your back-to-back-to-back LAN champions for the 2v2 space. Downlight down air. Kyna getting a nice activation there, catching Ian. Ian flips it, though, with that down air on the grapple hammer. The recovery comes in as well. A side air hits Kyna off stage. The red team both getting ushered to the right side of the stage. Laura is going really high. Kyna holding onto the wall. A lot of discipline from the red team to get each other some space, but Laura's is taking a lot of the damage right now. Yeah,
they were able to bully Laura so much early on in this game. That weapon toss goes in. Laura's without a weapon. Who's going to pressure him off stage? It's going to be MAK here, barely whiffing that GC sidelight. A little bit of a bold move to whiff your dodge there.
Full Russian? No, we don't get the extension on the D-Light on the soft platform there. Laura's able to get out of that. That signature will find its connection, though, and catch a KO onto MAK. We see a landing there from Ian. That's a great way to equalize the stocks. The side signature catches Kyna that time, and this is looking a little bit dangerous for Kyna. It gets sent off stage. We are very ambitious with the ground pound, but doesn't get punished.
Yeah, he was being really careful right after that. He just threw the weapon toss down and then floated up high. He didn't try to go in and get around with a 45-degree angle down air. Ooh, that was a little bit... was that a follow-up from Loras that accidentally hit Kyna? We'll see here and who gets credit. Okay, no. It was actually MAK who got that sort of lucky follow-up. I don't want to call it lucky, but I don't think he meant to necessarily do that at that moment. This is looking a little bit scary. I say a little bit scary. It's looking a bit scary for Loras and Kyna.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to find an adaptation, or it's going to take another game to do so. The landing side air will find the KO MAK in the 2v1, but the one somehow aggressing towards the 2v1 red team. Get a bit of a recovery there as Loras on his spear that we all know him for. The Nair sends upwards again. Kyna trying to continue to hold on to the stage.
Pivot nairs from bow players are just so fast. I don't know how he's able to whip the sidelight and then turn around the neutral like that quickly. It's a burn dodge coming out from MAK after the GC sidelight. He's going to take some punishment from Loras, but nothing major, no stock loss. He's going to be able to get back. Loras needs to be careful here. He is most damaged in this game if we're talking about stocks.
Okay, we get another down air comes out there as Kyna's trying to rack on that damage, but the lead is kind of slowly slipping away. You can't be lazy versus these teams. You can't fall asleep on the wheel. These are your back-to-back-to-back champions here for the Brawlhalla lands. And there comes out MAK getting hit with a down air there. Laura's getting a 1v1 onto Ian. Ian lands with a side air, though. Sends Laura's away. Kyna having to go over to his teammates' aid there to give him some space. He gets punished in a big way, but that recovery will take it off the top. And right now, MAK has to avoid a team combo. Gets hit with an end light there. Kyna follows up with an end light of his own, but Ian immediately punishes Kyna for getting that hit with a side air.
Oh, the D6 going to do it. It's now Kyna in the 1v2. He could take out MAK. That's going to be the closest to KO damage here. He still is going to need some more damage depending on what move he hits. Neutral air off the top is not going to do it. He's going to have to do quite a bit more damage than that. Ian kind of taking the front man opportunity. There's a neutral air from MAK. Once kind of gets through Ian. Another neutral air from Ian. I don't think he can take another one of those. Excuse me, that was MAK.
Is that enough? No, it's not. I like the strategy from Kyna where he's stacking on his opponent so that they can't hit each other, right? They don't want to swing at each other, but finally that end light is able to come out and punish it. So a very solid, interesting strategy from Kyna, stacking on top of the blue team so that they don't hit, if they are going to hit him, they're going to hit each other in the process. But what happens is Bo starts going for nairs and end lights, and eventually that'll KO. The first 5 times it didn't, the 6th one did, and the blue team were very solid and very poised in that game plan to win that game. And we go over to game number 4 now with Kyna and Lores. It's a little shaky. We go back to the same stage too. I'm a little worried.
We'll see how this one starts off. I do love that of all the people that he chose to stick on top of, the smarter choice was going to be MAK, because if Ian is picking up the stacked options, it's going to be potentially a neutral light, but probably more likely the stomp. And all of a sudden, that's going to lead to a lot more damage, a lot more KO potential than just like hitting Bo neutral airs back and forth.
Quite an interesting thing indeed. I mean, very smart strategy. Get a down air there. Now, Ian, want to give him his props, man. This hammer's been cooking Lores off stage a lot of times as Lores tries to make it back, and both of the blue team members having that center stage to the red team. Another nair comes out. Kyna going low on that recovery. He gets hit with the ground pound even after throwing up the weapon. Unarmed, able to make it back to the stage. D-Light into Cider there. Lores somehow able to win that 1v1 on Ian and then capitalize it with a scoop and score. Recovery into the bow nair. A lot of damage getting built up there. Another end light into a recovery from Kyna to Lores, and this is the double bow that I've been talking about. This is the scariest double bow in Brawlhalla right now for a reason. Lores setting up the 1v1 offstage. It KOs. Kyna wins his 1v1 too as MAK is on his 3rd stock, but his teammates on his last one.
Yeah, this is really scary for the blue team. They get the stock there
nice
and the save
Ian's
too.
Gone. Oh no, Ian able to make it back though as he slips underneath, but Lores is right there
they're
with the
just
ground
gonna.
pound. He goes for it. It's over.
They just threw everything at him, including themselves, and now it's 4 stocks to 2. MAK is all by himself. He still has 2 stocks to his name, but he's all by himself. Here comes the team combo. They were doing that really close to one another. I thought they were going to attempt at backing up before they did that, but I guess that's how close they had to be in that moment.
Lores classic. Even Kyna knowing that. He gets out of the way of his teammate. He says, you got this. I sent him downwards. I did my job. Get your pogos. The set is over, but this is all a formality at this point for your back-to-back LAN champions and potentially looking to win this autumn's through the elimination side. MAK is going to do his best here, but one team combo, one big open up from the red team.
You got to give it to Lores. Lores has to get the KO. He's going berserk. I want to hear the next one.
Oh, and no.
And it's gonna count for Kyna. He's gonna ground pound that one. He knew it was over. But on that 2nd stock, Lores got the berserk mention. That is so huge. Even Kyna had 2 accidents. I think one of those being his own stock, and then also probably being Lores' stock when they both threw themselves over on the right side to get Ian.
Yeah.
Another game that we've had today